Hi everybody, karibuni sana to Conversations with a Therapist. My name is Jennifer and I'm a counseling psychologist. I'm also the therapist in the show, so just in case you are wondering, karibuni sana. So good to have you here, and I'm waiting for my guest who is Vickk Mure. I know he'll be here in just a second. So if you're curious about Victor, this is your opportunity to get to know him. This is your opportunity to what he does, and yeah, let's join and get started on this wonderful conversation. I'm very excited to speak to Victor. He's joining in just a second. Oh, there he is.
Hey, hi, how are you?
Hi.
How are you?
Very well. Very well, Victor. How are you? Can you hear and see me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you clearly, even though I have my specs with me today.
Oh, you need your glasses to see me?
Yeah, I left them at work. At the same time, I'm taking coffees because I've been rained on.
Okay. Congratulations. The rain is a good thing. They say that it's blessings. I hope you're feeling blessed.
Yeah, after a hot shower, definitely. And you, how are you?
Yes. I'm very well, and I'm very excited to have you here. I'm very excited to get to speak to you. As I don't know if our audience knows, but I'm always happy to chat on Instagram Live. Like if I could be given an opportunity, I'd be a career Instagram liver if that's a job.
You'll be staying here all day, every day.
Just turn on your cameras, we talk. That is my favorite thing to do. Just Instagram lives about anything and everything. So this is something I'm very happy to do right now, and I'm very happy to have you on the live. Because of a lot of reasons, by the way. There are many reasons why I'm happy to have you on the live. But the first one being that you accepted my invite and you are here to speak about mental health. The whole goal of this entire thing is to normalize mental health, and especially among creatives. And I don't think we can normalize that mental health topic if we don't talk about it, and if you don't have creatives talking about it. And you being a creative, you being open to having this conversation, that makes me really happy. And I am sure this is going to be fun. I hope you will have as much fun as I will, because I know I will have fun.
Definitely, I will try. Talking is not my best suit. Hey, Tony, I can see I'm just joining you guys. First of all, thank you for joining and supporting me in this. So definitely it's something that I had been struggling with a while back, but my friends got me through it. I have my circle of 3 friends. So,
that sounds like a complete circle. I love it.
Yeah, it's very complete. So I'm also honored that you decided to bring me on board into this conversation.
Yeah.
As our first episode with you together. First of all, we'd like to apologize to the audience. We had set it at 8, but some KPLC thing decided, you know what, this is the day.
Yeah. See, there's that thing that's going around. They don't want the steamer in Yeshewe, so they have to annoy it and keep it in the house. So I think
True. I have the questions here on this other end. So I'm ready when you are.
Oh, fantastic! Let me take a moment to say hi to Call Me Blackie, Waithy, Mercy, Spice, Molly, and Fetch Creative Studios, Miss Kayafura, and Musi Design is here. Don Alberto. Hi, Don Alberto. He says, how are you guys? We are very well. Don Alberto, thank you for coming through. Wanja and Spice. Thank you so much for coming through, guys. Share this on your Instagram stories so that many people can join. But either way, asanteni sana. So that we don't take too much of your time, Victor, I think we should get started. And so we are going to do this officially. And I will invite you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about who is Vickk Mure and what it is you do as a 3D designer, animator, 3D animator, and a graphic designer. And yeah, there are people who don't know what that is. So maybe this is a good time to tell them. And if this is your full-time job or if it's a partial job. So tell us all that information.
Okay. So basically, let's just say Victor is a jack of all trades when it comes to design. That means from the basic design of creating, not basic, from designing a logo, branding, to actually creating the adverts. So what I specialize in professionally is 3D animation and graphic design, as my title says. Currently, I'm the lead motion graphic designer at Boomplay Music. So that basically involves creation of the adverts you see on YouTube. When there's an ad on Boomplay, that's motion graphics. At the same time, a couple of billboards, just promoting artist albums and all that. In-house, what I usually do in-house mostly, about 60% of the time, is creating of playlists. You see, once you log in on Boomplay, there's a homepage, slides, new music, and all that. So I'm the guy responsible, together with my team as well. Shout out to Kevin. We work with Kevin. Shout out to, we actually work with we are 4 guys in the team. That's Makish, Adrian, and Mora. So Mora goes by the name Elegant Film on Instagram. You can check him out. He's actually a very good guy. Basically, I work with the best. That's what I can honestly say. And it's a humbling experience to also learn and brainstorm with guys. To cut that short, when it comes to 3D animation, that's a passion project. I studied it at Shangtao. It's a college. So that's where that's when we had to showcase our certificates. That's one of them. It's higher national diploma, distinction, I think, on 3D animation and multimedia. Yeah. Have you ever watched, what's it called? Have you ever watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
I am ashamed to say that I have not.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, another that I've been able to I've had the privilege of actually learning under a guy called Konto, something, Nick Kondo. He's actually one of the greatest mentors out there. He's the lead animator on Sony, that is, Sony Pictures, under the film Spider-Man. So generally, animation is a passion project. To cut my story short, the 5 minutes is done on my intro. Yeah, I can say many things, but that's design is what pays the bill, and then animation is what I do for fun. Also, it brings in money. So, yeah.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, that sounds fun, considering that they're both things that you thoroughly enjoy. Not many people can say that their job is something they enjoy, and for you, it's something you thoroughly enjoy, and then you work with an amazing team, and at the same time, you get to do something on the side that is equally amazing and a wonderful mentor. That is impressive. How have you achieved those 2 things at the same time in your lifetime? Teach us your way.
Time management. It's and discipline. It's a struggle, to be honest. It's a struggle. As you can see, I'm also promoting myself, Chinyamaji, through your Instagram with my brand here, Vickk Mure. Yeah.
No, we love it. Shameless plugging is our name. Just plug yourself. Don't be ashamed.
Yeah, there's an ad where, was it CNN or was it BBC, where the reporter was talking, and then a guy with the paint with the shop. There's a painting shop, wanted to advertise that they actually sell, and then they had their number at the back. Then the guy went and just at the back of the camera and just started imagining talking to someone. But he's promoting himself so subtly that you can't even notice. Yeah, so this is me doing that.
You have to do what you have to do. Imagine, I respect it. You have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So discipline and time management, that is the secret sauce.
Yeah. I'm still not at 100%. I'm actually at if I want to grade myself, I'm at 60-70%. How I that, let me just walk you through how discipline and time management comes into my day.
I think, Victor, we are losing you for a minute. You seem to be frozen. If you're in the audience and you are also struggling to hear Victor, this is a good time to let me know. Just say "me too" on the chats, on the comments. I think Victor is frozen on his side. Probably a network issue, but hiyo ni kawaida ya mtandao. Bonzo Animations, thank you for joining. Faye, Kimberly, thank you for joining. Nimondongo, thank you for joining. Call Me Blackie is saying, where Victor is very time cautious from experience to Pewesiri. Thank you guys for responding. Fetch Creative and Call Me Blackie. Seems like we had lost you for a second, Victor. You can take it up from the top where you're talking about how creativity, time management, and discipline go hand in hand together for you. Oh, okay. Victor has disappeared for a second. I think there's a network issue. Tumuelewe tafadhali. Simnajua Kenya, this is kawaida. So don't worry. We'll be back in a second. He's joining in just a second. Victor is, yes, there he is.
Really sorry about that.
No, don't worry. If it's not a live video, if there's no challenge, let me just tell you the truth. It's not a live video kama mtu ateseki at some point.
So vile nimeingia kwa nyumba na haraka, I didn't connect to my wife. So the band was just telling me, yo guy, it's about time. It's about that time.
No worries at all. No worries at all. So you were telling us how creativity and discipline go hand in hand for you to make to give you the best of the best as a creative.
Yeah. So basically, as I was walking you through my day, so there are days I wake up at 5, there are days I sleep at that 5 a.m. So it's something that I had been struggling with a while back, but at least I've been able to, hi guys from Nigeria. So I've been able to manage, not 100%, as I say, I'm at 60%. So that from, well, my tripod is, I'm really sorry. As you said, there's no life without problems. So let's see, my tripod is actually misbehaving. I won't touch it now. Yeah, so so I break my day in 3 parts, 4 parts basically. So there's part 1, I make sure my full-time employer is satisfied. That means if there are any, we have a job card at how we usually work with a job card. That means everybody who has a request, an art request, more like an agency sort of, just attaches their request plus the necessary artworks and deliverables, and then they attach the time that they expect, the turnover time. So usually it's a 1-day turnover time. So I already know, as the day begins, I already know what I'm supposed to work with, or to work on from morning till evening, till the next day. So for the first part, in the first quarter, I ensure that I'm done with my full-time employer. Then on the second quarter is where I actually work on myself. That means YouTube tutorials, calling my friends. We have brainstorming sessions. So shout out to the Rebel, but that's Kennedy Kialo. So he's been walking me through Unreal Engine. So I won't really mess you up with terminations right now and all that, all the terms. So basically, the second quarter is where I talk about, or rather, I focus on me, what I need to improve. And for the longest time, it was everything, from design to animation to now music. But since the year started, I've been focusing on animation. So basically, that's the second quarter of my day. So right now, we're talking about at almost 6 p.m. So in the event that I reported to work, then from 6 to 7 is getting home and all that, 1 hour to get home. Hi. And then now we move to the third quarter of the day. that quarter of the day is where I work on my other clients. That means mostly, because also my contract is very sensitive, so mostly it's in line with animation. So what that means is you might find, in most instances, it's clients from Texas, UK, South Africa, and most recently Nigeria. So it's just some short clips where they need to polish animation here and there. It's not something complicated, so it's something that I can be able to finish up within three or four nights. So that's my third quarter of the night. So that is basically my time to just focus on clients, and that's only up until Friday. So I have the weekend to just replenish myself, just chill and all that, which is rare. And then now on the final quarter is two things. In the event, it's a weekend. It's anime time, just watching anime and just or animation. I watch tons of animations, and also repeating or rather catching up with animes that are coming up. Like for example, Bleach, the season 2 of Bleach. But now I watched it back in the day when I was a kid, so I had to now start rewatching it and catching up. So that also answers your question on the mental health situation. So if that's the weekend, that means Friday and Saturday I might not sleep for that. But the other rest of the weekdays, the final quarter of the time, is sleep. So that's on the discipline part. There's a friend of mine who told me I don't have a life because most of the time I'm just working. So I've been trying to segregate my weekends fully, like dedicate my weekends fully to doing nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I totally hear you. Let me say hi to some guys who have joined: Faye, Kimberly, Shaka, Brian, Barrel, and Ijoma. Big fan from Nigeria. Thank you, Ijoma, for joining. Who else? I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's cucina.ke. So I don't know how to pronounce that. And then there's Sheldon, and there's Katana Design, and Signature FX, and Cody Barracks, and Chege. Thank you guys for joining. This is awesome. So obviously, as you've said, you have to find time to actually get away from the work and focus on you as an individual, because I don't think anybody can go on. Nobody really can survive on work without taking a break. And so I think it's quite an important aspect of being a creative or being in any industry for in general. You have to get time to actually take care of yourself physically and mentally. I'm very curious. How did you end up becoming a graphic designer and a 3D animator? Like, yes, you mentioned you went to school for it, but even before then, did you always know that this was a thing you wanted to do? Did you stumble upon it? Were you influenced? Like, how did you end up where you are today? Looking back, yeah.
All right. So funny story, and I'm not sure if you're gonna laugh about it. So so basically, when I was a kid, I've always loved animation. Like I'll go and dress and wear 10 of my socks and start walking as if I'm a monster. That kind of childishness, right? So when I was in Form 2 is when my mom stumbled across Shantao on the newspaper. And she was like, this is something that my son really will be interested in. At first, that's when she like brought up the idea. She was like, go to that school and just check it out. That's in Form 2. So now I was like, nah, I don't want my mom dictating. Yeah, so it's conversations. Conversations with a therapist. So I need to be open with myself. So anyway, I didn't want to be told what to do. So I pushed it aside for like a whole year. And then in Form 3, when we closed school, you see how guys just go and just go around town. They've closed school, now they feel like they own the town, right? So I decided, you know what, let me just walk towards Inner Towers and check out the school. So I went there, and just the reception alone just blew my mind. Like there's 55-inch screen over there, and then another 71. And then on top of that, they also have I'm not sure if they have it as well up to date. They have a fish tank, and all the animation since I was a child were replaying over and over Tom and Jerry, Kids Next Door, and I was like, damn, it's like I've just entered my childhood brain, unajua. And then from there I was like, you know what, this is it. I just talked to the reception. I was like, yo, can somebody join while they're in high school? They were like, no, but you can join with the mock exam, not the KCSE. You can join and start the certificate level and then head on. So I was like, okay. That was in Form 3 start of the year. So I decided, you know what, this is it. I'm gonna kill it with mocks. And the entire Form 3, I was studying together with the Form 4s, and my mock I got an A minor. So I was like, I went straight ahead, immediately going to Form 4 during the break. And I told them, you said one can start with the mock. Here is my mock exam. That's how I started. When it comes to graphic design, so after we graduated in Shantao, we started with 38. We had 38 classmates, or rather we started with 38 people, and only graduated with 6 of us, one lady. Shout out to Winnie. Bobo, she goes by Bobo Kirago on Instagram. So she was the only girl for the last year. She was the only one out of five guys. So basically, when it comes to design, I study. I'm a self-taught designer. That means, or rather, I was lucky enough to get a mentor. When I started internship, the guys were like, yo, since you know animation, you know design. You know, guys don't differentiate between animation and design. As long as you know animation, you know design. They're one and the same. They're not the same. Even the softwares are different. So the guy was like, don't worry, I'll be teaching. I'll be giving you assignments. So I was like, yo, Aki, I really need that, because we were getting 10K at that time for the interns, and 10K is a lot. Like previously, I was at Bonzo. I was at Bonzo Studios, and that's where I started my internship as an animator, and then moved to LVCT. It's an NGO, so they really don't need animation. So the guy was like, how good are you with following instructions? I was like, I'm 100%. I can be a good follower. So that's when that guy took me under his wing. He's called Edwin. He's a very great. He's actually the guy who taught me design from basics to. So I started from scratch, like needing a job, kasijui job. if you know, for the international guys around here. So I took up a job that I did not have any clue on how to do it, but he held my hand. So that means what we started with the first 3 months of just your probation time for normal interns. So I used to get in the office by 6 a.m., finish up his assignments, and by the time he was clocking in at 10, NGOs normally is from 10 to around 4 p.m. and guys are off. So I used to start 6 a.m. By the time they get in at 10, I submit the assignments. It's like, yeah, actually do for me this poster for today. So I do it, and then the boss is like, hey, Vic, your work is good. But really, it's Edwin's work that helps me out, right? And then I moved from 4 p.m. I used to leave the office at 9 p.m. A lot of YouTube and a lot of Skillshare. So I can honestly say, if you are a startup artist, a startup designer, you just want to get into the field, start with Skillshare. Skillshare gives you 2 months for free, and I'm not advertising it. There are a lot of guys on YouTube that promote Skillshare. They usually have a code that gives you 2 months for free. I don't have one. I'm not affiliated to Skillshare. So that's where I started. And 4 years down the line, I'm the lead motion graphic designer at Boomplay, one of the best. Actually, it's the best in Africa. Ever since Spotify tried to come into the market, before even Spotify, Boomplay had over 1 billion so far. So right now it has over 100 million downloads. So I can only say the journey has been God-driven, and the same thing about discipline and time work hand in hand.
Yeah. Wow. You are very lucky to have people who actually wanted to see you succeed, because having like a mentor or a boss who is willing to let you ride on their success, especially in the beginning, and you're not coming in at you have some experience, you have some ideas, you're coming in as entirely green. You have no idea. You're just starting from like, Ata, you've not even studied this thing, yeah? And having somebody trust you like that, having somebody want you to succeed that much. I can only imagine, Ebu tell us what God you pray to get your script, because that is amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is very amazing. It's rare, and I'm just so happy that you were in such a place that you got somebody who was willing to work with you on a journey that you had no idea where it was going. You didn't know how to do it, and they worked with you from the very beginning. What has been the biggest challenge in that entire period of time?
The biggest challenge is not knowing what to do. During that, not knowing what to do, because the boss, I remember, she was a lady, and she ruled by she ruled us. Basically, she was a micromanager. That means she would used to stand at the back of your head and just look at exactly what you're doing. And then Edwin is just right across, and he's just looking at me and just laughing, because I honestly did not know what to do. But I actually thank God for Edwin, because were it not for Edwin, I wouldn't have been where I am right now. At the same time, I wouldn't have touched lives the way I've done. I think I've mentored of 6 guys right now, and out of those 6, 4 already have full-time jobs. So let's just say everything started from Edwin. I cannot take the credit. So that's the biggest challenge, was not knowing what to do, but Edwin always came into play. And at the same time, also, there are ways to just fumble through the software and just like, yo, I chat this, I see what it's doing, and the boss like, whoa, that is nice. Not anything. So yeah.
Yeah, I truly agree with you. Once you know, you have to put that confidence face, and especially when you're doing something that because there's this element of mystery when it comes to creativity, design, creating videos. There's a lot of, you can get away with a lot. You can be like, I need 3 hours to create this thing, when you know you can create it in 10 minutes. So I think that gives you gives you the leeway to actually learn. You get the freedom to learn, and you can get you have a little bit of room for space to move around kidogo. Yeah, you're not tied down like by somebody who knows exactly what is supposed to be happening, and so they're monitoring your every move. I think there's that room for movement. So you are quite lucky, and your story is quite impressive. So it's amazing. It's really amazing that you got to the place that you did. I'm curious about the thing that actually started this entire thing, which is mental health, where this conversation was headed from the beginning. And during this entire time you've been speaking, when did you become familiar with mental health as a thing, as a concept? What are the circumstances behind you ever becoming aware of mental health as a thing? Because I don't think it's language you grow up with. I don't think our parents talk to us about mental health. Maybe right now some parents are doing that with their kids, but I don't think in our generation it was something we'd sit and start saying, let's talk about mental health. So you kind of find it on your own. So what is your story behind stumbling upon mental health? What's there?
Okay. So since actually this is the first time I'm basically public when it comes to my personal life. Normally I usually just share my work, because well, there's the confidence that goes behind my work. But when it comes to my life, I've never shared it. So this will be the first time actually just talking about mental health and talking about my life. So mental health, my lowest moment, the moment that I realized actually I really need to protect my mental space, is when I was getting into Form 4. I mentioned finishing Form 3 and graduating to Form 4 was actually a very happy moment for me, because I performed very well and God came through. But then something happened in my life. My parents divorced. And when they did that, I'm from my dad. My dad is a reverend. My mom is basically a prayer warrior. So when that happened, it shattered my concept of God. Number one, I questioned God. That's the first thing. Like, I was like, these are people who serve you. What the fuck, you know? And then the second thing that happened was I have 4 siblings. So what my mom did, my mom separated 2. She went with 2, and my dad and my brother and I remained with our dad. And then now it affected my dad in such a way that for the better part of my 4th year in high school, he wasn't there. He was always like out, either going to Wazee or something. So I basically, for that entire year, we were just basically cooking for ourselves with my brother. My brother at that point, he was sitting for his primary final papers, KCP. So it was a hectic moment for me personally, because I had to hold it together for all my siblings. I'm the first one. Then something happened. For the first time ever, I decided to try alcohol. Yeah, so I decided, you know what, let me just try forgetting about all this and see how it goes. Unfortunately, I got alcohol poisoning, and I was admitted to the hospital for 3 days. On the third day is when my dad actually got the news that I'm in hospital, almost on the third day, because I'd passed out. Nobody knew where I was. When I was rushed to the hospital, my phone had died. They can't access anything. No, like they can't even call anyone. So I'm in the hospital. Like I'm basically a John Doe in the hospital. So on the third day is when I regained consciousness, and my dad. That was around 1 a.m. So I managed to call my dad and my mom. And my dad at that point alikuwa up country, so he had to drive with my grandma, my aunties, my sister. They had to drive at night around 2 a.m. And when they got there, when I woke up, I just found, after I made that call, I just passed out again. When I woke up, I found everyone in my family, almost the extended family, everyone around the bed. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know this many people loved me or cared for me. So that was a turning point in my life. And when they walked away, I just told my dad what happened and my mom. And from then, I swore never to take alcohol. My friends can attest to that. I've never tasted. That was the first and last time I've tasted alcohol. So that was a turning point for me in terms of my mental health space, because I realized my life is not my own. There is a greater purpose to my life. And that's what I've actually been trying to look for back to back, through and through, even trying to schedule myself, plan myself, because in as much as I'm not saying I'm living for others, it's just that I want to ensure I've lived my full potential, not to let myself down. It was a wake-up call, seeing how many people surrounded me on that bed. I can say a deathbed at that point, because the doctors were like, we don't even know how he survived, and we actually don't know what he drank. So yeah, I believe I've answered your question. That was my turning point, and from then on, I've always tried to ensure that I've structured my life accordingly. And also, immediately after high school, I got saved. So God has been my pillar, back to back. I got convicted by the Holy Spirit. And even when times are tough, like really, really tough, even when you feel like you need to break down, mental breakdown, fatigue, and all that, God usually says, if you look up and cry unto me, who am I not to forsake you? You see? So that's something that I've been trying to, let's just say, the turnaround time for me, the turnaround was my family and God. So that has been able to anchor myself to a stable place. There are times it's high, there are times it's low, but at least that is constant.
During this entire period, did you ever get an opportunity to speak to a therapist or to see a mental health professional? Were you aware that those things, those people existed, like psychologists and counselors? Is that something that ever came up? Or when did you ever discover about psychologists and an entire field where there are professionals who actually assist people with mental health challenges? When did you come across that?
My mom is a counselor. My mom is a counselor, but you really can't talk to your mom, to be honest. So basically,
yeah, you actually can't cause even. I think it would be unethical because they are not your therapist. It would be quite unethical. Yeah.
Exactly. But the funny thing is, I've never seen her as a therapist because I've always seen her talking to her age group. So the thing about the mental health and the therapist situation was actually confided in me by Camilla. Camilla was the previous former HR at Boomplay. She was my desk mate. That was last year. So 2 years ago is when I realized actually this is a thing. Because when you're growing up, really, is your dad gonna pay school fees or pay for psychology? You know,
that is the question. To pay or not to pay?
to pay school fees first, or get food on the table, or first pay for therapy. You know, because by my understanding, even growing up, like, hey, therapy is like 5Gs a session. You know, so it's never been at the back of my mind. I'm like, yo, I need to take myself to therapy. No. Up until 2 years ago is when I started having issues in my relationship. You know, and Camilla pointed out the reason I'm confident mentioning is because these are people who have impacted my life, and these are people actually who are very, very kind and open-hearted to help people out. So basically, she was the one who talked me into getting therapy because I realized the separation issue my parents had was impacting my relationship in a negative space, because I'm like, huyo atakuja tu kwenda, you know, whatever will happen, she'll eventually find a reason to leave. And in most cases, even I can see some of my people, some people I've had relationships with, one recently joined the live. So even in that relationship that we had, it separated because of abandonment issues. So to answer your question, not until 2 years ago is when I actually learned that therapy is needed to get closure of the issues that you have and chart our way forward.
What was the surprising thing when you came across that? Many people are not, as you said, you're not aware about psychology and therapy and these services being available, it being an entire field that exists. So for you, what was the reaction? Were you surprised? Were you excited that, oh my gosh, somebody can help me? Or were you like, no, that is not happening, I'm not going to talk to anybody? You know, like everybody has a reaction. What was your reaction?
At first, it was off-putting because I'm like, mashida zangu ni zangu, my problems are mine. I'll just write them down, structure them, and leave them one by one, you know. And coming out of my shell, by nature I'm an introvert, but I'm slowly coming out of my shell and getting that social currency in check. And even this conversation with you, it's a step towards that. So at first I was like, yo, no. Why would I speak to someone, you know? And then at the same time, I've seen in our group, we have a group of artists, WhatsApp group, and in that group, I think in the past 5 years we've had 3 suicides. So it's a very sad affair, but at the same time, it's worth mentioning that at first, even if you're out there and you feel like you can handle your problems, please don't. Sometimes they might backfire on you. You see, when you're not used to handling a gun, but you want to clean it, so you might shoot yourself in the foot. So get the professional help that's needed.
Yeah, I agree. I think professional help is required, especially when it comes to mental health. It's one of those things you can't really. Yes, there are ways you can help yourself, but at the end of the day, sometimes you need that outside perspective. That person who is not surrounded by your emotions, who is not influenced by your emotions, because you as yourself, you're literally in the middle of your troubles, and it's very easy to get blinded by those emotions, by every challenge that is coming through. So yeah, I'm sure that would be challenging if you're trying to handle everything by yourself. That's very true. Before we proceed, let me just take a minute to say hi to everybody who's here. So far, I can see Dennis Walla is here. Murithi is here. Ian Smith, hi, Ian. Ignatius Arts, Sue Achuka, Njeri, and Chege, and Mahugu Karis, hi guys. Call me Jirani. Kiki, Andrew Olago, hi Andrew, and Artist Codes, thank you for coming in. Sir Williams K, and Mburugu Ngaria is here. Marichu and Keith Amaru. John is here. Ivy the First is here. And Jerry. Hi, Jerry. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through. You can share this with your friends who are not here yet and they can join the conversation. Not Jeff Banks, karibu sana to the conversation. You found us somewhere in the middle. And Shiro Chege, thank you so much for joining. So I'm very curious about how 2 years ago you came across mental health and it was introduced to you by somebody, and at first it was off-putting and everything, and then what I'm curious about is how, because during this time you were still a creative, you're still doing your creative work, how did your mental health challenges affect your creativity at that time, or how did creativity amplify your mental health issues or help you deal with mental health issues? Like what was the mawasiliano, what is it called? How did they meet each other and talk to each other?
Yeah, how did they intertwine?
Englishman, tell us, how did they intertwine?
I've had my moments. Anyway, so what I can say, I work with boxes. You can even see how I break my days in quarters, and sometimes you find mekosana, like let me continue speaking in English. So basically, I work with boxes. If there's a problem, I package it and throw it away, finish my task, and then go back and collect it, and now enjoy it. Not enjoy it per se, just feel it. Like I up to date, even if I'm on good moods, I used to listen to lofi music a lot. Lofi music is very prominent when it comes to depression, and in most instances, I used to just put lofi music at the back of at the background music and just to work through it. So I used to churn my problems into overworking. So I'd go 2-3 nights without sleeping, and then sometimes I'd like sleep a whole week. So it's like this in most cases, but at least at this point I've been able to manage it. If I'm stressed, basically I either try working. If it doesn't work, I shut off and go for a run, of which really I can honestly say it's just 1 kilometer run, and I'm tired and I just go back to working. Yeah.
I'm not no judgments. I, as a person who never runs unless there's danger, I do not judge. So for you during that time, your creativity was still there, but your handling of both of the mental health issue and challenges was either to overwork or crash, nothing in between. And now you've said that you've gotten to a place where you are able to maneuver and put everything in perspective. How did you get here? How did you get to the place you are in now when it comes to your mental health?
Friends. So for most guys, they don't talk. So it's people say no, it's just cliche, men don't talk. But trust you, even when they are talking, they're not talking. And also for the ladies listening as well, even when guys are talking, sometimes they're not talking. That's the thing. And one of my I got accountability partners. There are 3 friends that I mentioned, and one of them is Steve. Is actually here as Steve Lynch, and as well as Steve Tooth Creative. So hi Steve, thank you for joining and supporting me on this. He's actually the guy. I believe you had talked to him, and then he referred you to me. So one of the things that really helps me through is talking to my friends. That means my fellow creatives, people who are in the same field and actually relate to what I'm talking about. So for example, you are a psychologist, right? I'm sure you have your circle of psychologists that you can have a coffee and just let off steam. So in one instance, just last week, we had a conversation with Steve, and he's here. even Makish is here. So those are the two. Actually, my circle of friends, they're all here. You can already see.
Your circle has just become complete. Evo too.
Yeah, my circle has already become complete. That's exactly what I'm talking. Getting a support system that not only is there for you, but they actually back you up. And here they're actually like, yo, Vick is actually talking, so let's go support him. So thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Steve, for joining us. Thank you so much. I hope I answered.
I can see. We'll still come back to it. Not Jeff Banks is here. Shirochege is here. Hi, Andrew. Thank you for saying hi. Steve Lynch, same person as Soul Tooth Creative. Hi, Steve. So good to have you here. And Ari the Alien. Hi, Adrian. So good to have you here as well. Makish, hi. And Koi Wamai. Thank you so much for joining. And King Makori, thank you so much for joining. So for you, friends have been able to keep you accountable. They have held you down when things have gotten tough. They have come through when you need to bounce off ideas creatively, and when it comes to mental health. And you're obviously lucky. What if how do you maintain these friendships? Like it's very hard for adults to make friendships. How do you create these friendships and ensure that they are the kind that you can always go to and be honest with? Because you know, Nairobi, I don't know if it is a Nairobi thing, but it's very easy to have friends that you don't actually talk to. You just have banter and you just talk about everything else other than the actual problems that are going on. Like if you're struggling with anything, you can't tell them, but you can share memes and talk about other things. So for you, how have you been able to create this circle of friends that is already here and maintain that friendship to the degree where you can be honest with them when you're struggling with something when it comes to mental health? Teach us something around that.
Have you ever heard of the expression nikune nikukune? Scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's the thing. I can say, I can honestly say I've been lucky in that area. That means in most instances, if you do not go the extra mile, don't expect your partner or your friend to go the extra mile as well. And unfortunately, most humans, especially here in Nairobi, we are very selfish. We are very selfish. So that means like, let me give you, I'm better off giving you an example, right? So you see, Steve, we were schooling together, just in the corridors, hi, full stop, nothing much, right? Then one day I got a project, and then I was traveling to Thika to see a friend, and then we met with Steve in the mountains. Like, wait, you were in Shantao, hata sikumbuki jina yako and all that, right? And then after mid journey, I'm like, whether this project, what if I told Steve and just ask him if he's willing to join me in this project, tukule pesa pamoja, no? And from then on, that's when we hit it off. So Steve saw how I met him halfway, like, I brought him into this project. And then 3 years down the line, I was in a fix. I'm like, yo, Steve, you know what? Hey, how are you? I need like quite a lot of money to purchase. I was actually purchasing my machine. It's Steve who topped up the money to get that. So you see, why it's not me looping him into the project and us getting a good payday, I wouldn't have been able to buy this machine and get Steve to top it up. No. So it was like that. So in most instances, to answer your question about friendships in Nairobi, people are selfish. So maybe have a little hope in humanity, you know, and also follow your gut.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think true. I think there's that thing where people keep asking if you trust people, then you become vulnerable to them, or you're supposed to become vulnerable first, then you develop trust. And they keep saying it's not a chicken and an egg situation. You have to give something, and it's something small. You start by being vulnerable for a bit, and then they reciprocate that, and they hold your vulnerability, and they you trust them more, and they come to you when they have an issue, and you hold that space for them to be able to express themselves. Then you get to trust each other, and that's how you build it. So I think that's very true. You have to follow your guts, but you also have to have faith in humanity, because It's very easy to walk around with that negative mentality of everybody is a bad person, and then you will never get to experience the full range of humans that we have. There are good people and there are bad people, and that is just the reality of life. So I think just developing a good radar for knowing who to be trust and who not to trust, and being open to the possibility of getting hurt, because that is life. That is part of life. You have to get hurt kidogo.
Yeah. Character development.
It's very important. I mean, it's in the name. You will develop character. Why not? Yeah. Don Alberto, we can see your suggestion and your advice, and we reject it. Thank you for sharing, but we reject that watu wakunywe Gilbis. We refuse that. So thank you, but no. Don Alberto is one of our mutual friends, so, and we are happy to have him here and everybody else who's here. So thank you very much, Alberto, for being here. So you've been in the creative industry for a minute now, and you are holding a huge space right now, even as the lead motion person at Boomplay. That's a big deal. And in this entire time, I'm sure you interact with other creatives in other different arenas. And you mentioned you even have a WhatsApp group where you have creatives with you. What do you think the Kenyan creative industry can do to support the mental health of creatives? Because as you are aware, and even as you've mentioned, suicide is a big thing, especially among creatives. I don't know why. And substance abuse is a big thing in the creative industry. Relationships challenges are many. Trust is a problem. Backstabbing left, right, and center, taking advantage of each other. There's just a lot that's going on. And in your own perspective, what do you think the creative industry in Kenya can do to support mental health among creatives in the industry?
Okay, let me. I'll just state it straight off the bat. The main thing that I usually see, or rather from my perspective, is money. Money is the root of all evil, right? That's what they say. Even the Bible talks about that. So in most instances, as a creative, what will give me stress if a client does not pay? Correct? Another thing, if the client does not pay, I'll be forced to now go to extreme measures. Then the little money I have, I just want to drink it off and just forget about my problems, right? So that's another chain. It brings in place substance abuse. The backstabbing is prominent, especially with guys that are, for us creatives, the backstabbing usually happens from people who try to bring in projects, overcharge it, and then underpay us. So again, money. So I won't really take much time because I can also see our time is almost up. So to wrap it up on that topic, that question about the Kenyan creative industry, a guild, or rather a union, forming a union. Already A3K is a union for animators, still in process, but it's been there for quite some time. So it's actually been gazetted as well. So and to join A3K, you just need like, I think 3Gs. I'm not advertising A3K, but what I'm just trying to say is getting yourself an umbrella sort of situation, a union where everybody is speaking the same voice, the same message. So assuming this client was not paying up, what if he was backed by lawyers, or rather he was followed up by lawyers from the union? You see, he would pay, and then the creative will be okay. There wouldn't be need to abuse substance abuse, right? What about the backstabbing? You can't backstab a union because the rates are already standardized. Because now, if the rates are already standardized, you can't underpay us. You see? So now, and I believe I'm speaking for most, if not all artists, underpaying is one of the biggest problems. And also not paying as well. So even as much as I'm talking like that, I can already see someone called that the guy we work with. Actually, we are waiting on a payment. So you see, already I'm talking to you, and already it's a problem when I'm in this situation.
Yes. Yeah.
So the question, basically, they are trying to do that, and I hope unions that are coming up to also try and follow up on that. At the same time, individualism, basically, we are trying to create awareness on mental health, and also so many other aspects as an individual, aside from the mental aspect of it. But the mental is basically the mother of all things, right? So yeah, whatever we are doing, and we do more of that, even internationally, not only locally. At the same time, creating unions that actually stand the test of time, because many have come up, died down because of lack of funds. Why? Because artists like you and I, the ones in the live, like you and I, are not registering and supporting these unions, because these unions are here to protect us. You see, and they also give us a lot of benefits. Like, for example, there was through THU conference in Thailand, and it was fully sponsored by the union, right? So they got a request. The conference guys, they were like, yo, you have a union, get us 3 of your guys, we'll sponsor everything. You see, so just because of that aspect of us, we are letting, what I can just say honestly, artists, 50% we are letting ourselves down, and 50% the government is letting us down. Simple. And also the clients.
Thank you for saying that, and I agree with you. The people need to feel valued for the work they do, and monetary compensation is a big part of that value, and we can't ignore it. We can't pretend that just because you love the work, you're supposed to work for and not get paid for it. So thank you so much for speaking about that. We are coming to the close of this conversation. I have 2 final questions, which are not really questions, they're more of things you're going to tell us. And before we get there, I want to read a few comments. Actually, there's 2 main comments that have just come up. I don't know how to pronounce that name again. Is it Kuchina or Kachina or Susina? I don't know. It's CUCINA.KA. And she says, hi, this is a really nice conversation. Thank you. I would like to know if he ever feels stuck creatively and how it affects him and how he deals with it. Thanks. And also, he's really cute. So back to you in studio.
Thank you, the cute part. Thank you. So basically, to answer that question, if I ever really feel stuck, yeah, a lot. Because as I mentioned prior, I used to like either overwork or not work at all. So how it affects me and how I deal with it. Right now, if I ever feel stuck, sometimes I look at the check that's coming in, and it's already a motivator enough. Being honest is important. At the same time, sometimes the check is not that enticing, but how the client related with me at first, I'm like, yo, if I let this person down, I would have let myself down, because I need to ensure I've kept my promise. Right now, my go-to thing is art. Basically drawing a lot, and I've been getting a lot of advice from artists who are very renowned in the industry. I'm not good with sketching. I'm learning. So right now it's my stress reliever. If I feel stuck, I take a 10-minute break, sketch something out, and then all of a sudden my juices are back. So that's, to answer your question, that's how I get through it these days. Prior, I used to just watch an episode of anything, and then I'm okay.
Fantastic. I know the person who asked the question feels answered adequately, and my big happiness here is that every one of those tactics that you use to get back into your elements is healthy in its own way. It's not a self-destructive thing, because that's what you're trying to end, the self-destructive things. We can get better without hurting ourselves. That is something that I firmly believe. So we have spoken about your personal story. We have spoken about your work. We have spoken about the people who have been there for you, people who have supported you, people who have made your journey as a creative and your journey in the mental health field quite not necessarily easy, but easier than it would have been without them. And I think I'm glad that you have people around you, and you're not solo riding this entire thing, which is important. There's something I keep saying: we heal in community. Nobody really can heal in isolation. We heal in community, and so building that community of people that can be with you and be there for you is something quite important. During this entire time, other than the people that you've mentioned, do you have any specific resources that have come in handy for you in your mental health journey that you have used in the past, that you're using currently, or that you intend to use in the future, maybe they're in your bucket list, that you can share with other creatives who might be listening right now and they're thinking, how can I take care of my mental health, even if I don't get to see a therapist? How can I take care of my mental health? What are some of those resources that you'd like to share?
So right now we are one world. Let me try reading a comment this time. So Sir William is saying, good job, very important to be self-aware. Thank you. I hope you are as well. And in case you have any question, feel free to type it up. We'll definitely, before we wrap up, we'll definitely talk about it. So one of the main things that has really helped me out is podcasts. So podcasts of artists, similar people in similar situations. So in the event, the world right now is one village, right? So let's say you're a therapist. I'm sure there are millions of content about therapists talking about their experiences so far, right? And whatever they do. So in my case, is podcast of animators, and not only animators who are just, animators who've actually won. By won, I mean animators who have actually attained our goals and my dreams. So you see, there's a level of which I want to attain, right? That is basically one day to either work on Pixar, or either work in Pixar or work on quality work equally as good as Pixar. You see, so if people who are already there, they already have conversations, they already have groups in Discord, even in their websites, they already have communities around them. For example, there's one called Agora Community. Agora Community, for the animators and designers in the house. Agora Community has guys like Jim Dennis, Sawed. They're just interviewing their fellow animators, people who have been in the industry for 20, 30 years. And those people talk about their experiences. So sometimes it helps you compare yourself with them, and because the experiences are almost similar. So you're like, recently I was listening to a podcast on The Box Assassin. The Box Assassin is a short film, I think 3 minutes. Go check it out. You can even check it out as well. So basically, the guy was talking about how he used to spend nights. You see this chair that I'm sleeping on. Him used to sleep on the floor. And the mother tries to wake him up in his bedroom. He's not there. He's in the office sleeping. One day he even got a mosquito bite. His entire face was swollen. So at first, even I think it was a bug bite, something. So you see such experiences. At first he was like, maybe it's just swelling because of the cold floor. But after a day or two, the swelling hasn't gone down. That's when they realized it was actually an allergic reaction and he would have died. So you see, such conversations, they not only impact you at some level, but they actually show you you're not alone in this. Yeah, so that's one of the main things. I listen to podcasts. At least I try to listen 20 minutes every single day, either when I'm just starting work or I'm finalizing my day or midday. It really doesn't depend on, it's not time bound. It's basically, I ensure every single day I listen to at least one podcast, at a 5 minutes, just to get in the headspace that is needed to be able to persevere or push through that day.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that specific tip on the podcast, and also the community that you mentioned, the Agora community. Definitely we'll link this in the description box of this video so that anybody who's watching this anytime in the future will find it. And thank you very much for sharing that. You have been recently nominated for a Kalasha Award. Please tell us something about that before we end this conversation. It would be an injustice for you not to tell us. Tell us how it feels, tell us how it came along, and tell us where we can vote so that we can go and just crash their servers with our votes.
Okay. Thank you also for, first of all, also just thank you for the viewers as well, and also for the questions you guys have been asking. So yeah, I've been nominated to Kalasha, or rather my team has been nominated Kalasha Awards. So what I can honestly say, it was pure luck, because we worked on it. Or you see the earlier one I mentioned, involving your friends in your projects, right? So that project, I did it with every other friend that I know. When it comes to, so there's Kennedy Kialo, I mentioned him as we were starting. He was the one who did the environment, and then we have Carl, who did the characters. We have Luigi, who guided me through the rigging process. So, and then we have CPX30X, he's here. He's called Soda Jangi. So he was the one who helped me out. We worked with him on the animation bit. And unfortunately, we had enough time to do the 3 things, but the animation bit, we only did it in 2 nights. Basically, we did it under 48 hours, because we were like, the Kalasha deadline is basically, we are on Wednesday, the Kalasha deadline is on Friday. So I was actually calling him, I was like, I hope you don't have any clients right now. I need your help on this. So we worked at night, went to work, came back, worked that night, and then sent it to my friend. He's called Josh Monday. He's the one who actually helped me submit it. Even his name, he added also his name, because we worked on the script with him. So basically, I can honestly say that was 22 nights of pure madness with Sodajangi and a guy called Belinga. So I can honestly say it was, sisema is a fruit of our labor. It's just kubahatisha. Naweza sema tu ni God. I can't take credit. I can't say that we sacrificed our night and worked hard. No, it's just God's grace, and I really hope we do win this thing. In case you really want to help me win this, feel free to download the StarTimes app. I think it's available worldwide. So just under StarTime, just go to special category, animation, and click N Okumba. You can see even Belinga just joined. As I mentioned, you see the circle of friends I mentioned. So Belinga has also joined. So basically, every other friend that I work with creatively and also life-wise has been able to join, even Joy Impressions, Karibu Sana. I've been able to just join and support me in this, because this is my first time talking publicly. So usini judge, don't judge me. If it's bad, I'm sorry. We'll improve later. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and your evidence that teamwork makes the dream work. You're literally the walking evidence of teamwork making the dream work. So it's awesome to also hear that you get to do this with your friends, and there's nothing that is better in this one like winning with your friends. It's just the best, because I think it's quite lonely at the top, right? Many people who succeed on their own and they don't succeed with their friends usually say that it's very lonely to do that. So I'm just so happy that you have this team of people around you, that you support each other and you take care of one another, both work-wise and mentally. That is just epic, and it's very admirable. So congratulations on achieving this big feat.
Thank you.
Sir Williams K says, you have done a good job for the first time. I don't want to get into that, because that sounds like an inside joke, and I don't want us to burst that bubble. But thank you, Sir Williams, for coming through. Belau Bean, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And Joy Impressions, thank you so much for coming through. This is the wonderful opportunity for you now to plug yourself. If somebody is listening and they're thinking, oh my gosh, Victor is amazing, I want to work with him on XYZ project, or I want to meet him for a coffee so that he can mentor me on something I'm working on, or I want to bounce off ideas from him, or whatever. They just want to have a conversation with you. Where can they find you? Where can they find your work to support you? How can they get in touch with you? Please plug yourself shamelessly. Do not feel any guilt or any shame. Just tell us everything.
So let me even sit well. Let me plug you. So basically, you can reach me on all platforms. under the name Vickk Mure. Basically, that's VICK double K and then MURE. As you can see, I think this one reads inverted from your end. So basically, if you see such a green color, it's across on all my platform. I've tried to maintain the branding situation there, but I have locks on most of my profiles. So don't look for a shaven guy. That's not me.
You took them out because it rained. You put them aside because it rained. You know, you started this conversation saying that you were rained on. Okay. You would tell us.
Yeah, so I go by Vickk Mure across on my platform. Please feel free to hit my DM. I think I've replied to all my messages up to date. So in case you have my number, WhatsApp me. I don't have any pending chats. I'm that kind of person. Missing 1,000 chats. I actually have like 400 contacts. So all my chats are up to date. So feel free to hit me up.
That's impressive. I cannot say the same. I'm just looking at my WhatsApp right now, and I have over 80 chats unread and unresponded to. Do not WhatsApp me, please. Anybody out there, do not WhatsApp me. I will not respond. but thank you so much for plugging yourself and plugging your work. We'll definitely put your contact info again in the description box so that anybody looking for Vickk Mure can find you. We have had such a wonderful conversation from the very beginning. This has been awesome. I have appreciated getting to speak to you, getting to know you a little bit more, and I've appreciated your openness, your honesty. I'm sure there's a creative somewhere who's listening to this conversation and they're thinking, Victor has spoken for me in a way that I could not speak for myself, and I have learned something from Victor that I can apply to my life. And so thank you very much for your honesty and your grace and your charity in giving us a sneak peek into your life, especially when it comes to the private stuff that you mentioned about mental health and saying that you've not spoken about it in any other public forum. I really do appreciate that you've gotten to do this with a therapist. Hi, guys, I'm the therapist. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming through, for spending your time with me. I know you could be anywhere in the world, but you chose the last over 1 hour to have this conversation with me, and I really don't take that for granted. So thank you very much. If anybody is listening to this conversation, you're a creative out there and you would like to be featured on Conversations with a Therapist, I would be happy to host you. So tell a friend to come into my Instagram DM or Facebook or Twitter at Safe Space Arena. That's the platform. And as I said in the beginning, my name is Jennifer. I am a counseling psychologist, and I enjoy doing these conversations about mental health all the time. So reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Let's chat if you have the time and the energy, and if you are willing to talk about your mental health in a public forum. I'll be really, really happy to host you and to speak with you. So again, Victor, I don't know if you have a parting shot to tell the people who have graced us with their presence before we call this a night. It's almost 10 p.m.
Wow, it's almost. We need to respond to email. Yeah. So yes. My parting shot is just that this has been a safe space. Is to appreciate you for creating such a platform for creatives. But I've been trying to have lives, but it's difficult. The energy it takes to do this consistently. I cannot props. Just hats off to you. This has been a very good safe space. I've been able to actually open up and talk about it. And I really hope that it does touch somebody's life and they actually want to talk about it. So feel free to hit Safe Space Arena and inbox them as well. So yeah, it has been a pleasure. I'm enjoying coffee here. I'm not sure what you're taking, but good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Victor, and thank you very much, everybody who's been able to hang out with us for the last couple of hours. We really appreciated your presence and your time, and I look forward to seeing you next week. We might be having somebody interesting that you've not seen before, so this is a wonderful time for you to follow Safe Space Arena. I'm going to be updating our next guest, and again, thank you, Victor, and I wish you good night and a wonderful rest of the week, and good night, everybody who has been here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Arigato gozaimasu.
I don't know how to say it, but thank you. Bye.
Bye.